What is Gucci, everyone? It's a beautiful day here, and today I want to talk about debugging in Eclipse. Now, debugging in programming, and I guess in life in more of a weird sense, is very important. It's a way to find bugs when you have no idea what's going on and you're getting really stressed out. You may be approaching deadlines, an assignment is due, and it's going really hectic, and you have no idea what's going on, and programming gets really difficult after a while. So now I want to go over an essential skill, which is how to do this the best way possible to reduce stress and find errors. Because as much as you want to get things done programming, you have to spend about as much time debugging, testing, and doing documentation. So it's very important to also be good at those skills, which you may not find as much fun. I know I don't. So let's start out here. First of all, I will have all the example code in a gist below. It won't help out this much in this video, but if you want to play around with it, I offer it. And also I'll have links to also other good Eclipse debugging tools if you want to check them out, again, in the description below. There are other YouTube videos. Now, I have, again, a basic Java file. Don't worry about all my pretty colors and all my formatting in Java. Don't worry about this either. That I've done. It's just yeah, fun font manipulation, and I have another video on how to actually do this. But let's get started. So the first thing I want to find out is I want to see what my variables are, or I want to look through my program and look at maybe how I'm getting an error or how possibly some condition is being executed. And so to do this in programming, you want to set breakpoints. And what a breakpoint is it's saying is when I set a breakpoint and the program comes to this breakpoint, you set a breakpoint at a specific line of your code, and when your code reaches that line, it says, hey, attention, attention, everybody, we're going to stop. We're going to stop and let the user examine the state of the program. And so when I examine the state of the program, I can look at the insides of the function, and I can look at the values of variables, which is very helpful. So I can see if maybe a variable is out of line, maybe a variable became a case that I didn't consider, or I've made the wrong calculation, or my conditions are wrong, and that's why I'm in this situation right now. So for instance, if you're getting a null pointer exception when you don't think you should be, you can put a breakpoint right above the null pointer exception and see that see what your values are, and then look at them, more intimately, and think about your situation, and maybe you've done something wrong or done something right, but just made a little mistake. So I'm going to put a breakpoint, which you simply double-click on the line numbers here in Eclipse, or you can right-click and click Toggle Breakpoint. Obviously, the double-clicking looks better. So I'm going to set a breakpoint here. I'm going to set a breakpoint on line 22, on line 28, and line 12 just for introduction. And so that's fancy-dancy and done. And now I'm going to start the debugging process. So I've set my breakpoints in my main program. But now I'm going to go over here to the right-hand side, and I'm going to click the debug perspective. And when I click the debug perspective, a pop-up may come up and say, are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to change your perspective? That's perfectly okay. If you want to change it back, which you'll want to, you can just click the Java button right next to the debug perspective. So now I've got my perspective, and I've got my console here. I'm going to clear it. And so now I've got a few important things here. I've got this tab, which has my variables, and I've got another tab, which has my breakpoints, and it lists on which lines my 3 breakpoints are. And simply by toggling these things, I can take them off or take them on. So that's pretty nice. And now I want to start my debugging process. And to do this, you want to hit the debug button, the bug, because it's debugging, haha, these guys are so funny, debug hello, which is the name of my program. So now I'm going to debug the program. And when I do that, this little window is going to pop up, and it's going to show all the threading information and all the system information that I may want to worry about. But I don't really want to, and I usually ignore this because usually it's not what you're after. If you're doing a lot of systems things or looking at threads, then you definitely want to evaluate this. But for most 99% of the programming, you're not going to do it, and my video is not going to be on that. So now, as you can see, there's this blue arrow here, and Func1 is highlighted. In regular Eclipse, it will kind of be a nice blue line and be a little more clearer, but I'm okay with that. And as you can see in my console here, it says inside main. And so now I have Func1. I'm in Func1, and let me go back to variables here. So now variables has been updated with args, which is a string, but I didn't pass anything into args, so args really has no value. But it's pretty cool that it's still keeping track of args. Now, my program started from main and went past line 8. So it went to val, but val isn't showing up in this variable box. And that's because it has no value yet. It will get assigned a value on line 16, which we'll see shortly. So now I'm in func1, and there's no point into the func1 except you can see my program's running and I'm in func1. But what if I wanted to see what func1 was doing because I thought I may have a problem with it? I can go up here to these three, this row here, and these are to the left of everything that's being debugged, and I can look at these options. And these options are your debugging gods. They're your debugging tools, not gods. What am I saying? And that's what you can use. So the two most prominent methods you'll probably use are step into and step over. And that's what these two methods. So step into, if you're looking at a method, goes into the method and you'll then be at the code of that method. So I'm going to go into step into. And so now I'm into step into, and you can see I've been brought to func1, which is print out func1. And then also you can see that this button was now highlighted to the right of step over, which is step return, which I can then click to go over the function. And when I clicked step return, it returned and then went to the next call. So then it went to system out print call to func2. And so now I could go inside the system call. I could go inside that if I had the code for it, but I don't have the code for it. I don't have the exact code for it. I just have the class files, which allows me to run it, but I don't have the actual jars, which implement the code and allow me to view the code. So that's off the table, but I could go in the system out print if I did have the jar. If you have the class code, that's just bytecode and you can't look at it. So instead, I'm going to click step over, and what that's going to take me is that is going to take me to the next function. It's going to take me to val. Now, you'll see in my variables, val is being set to func2 call, but my box has not been updated with the value of val. That's because the highlighted line, the gray line here, that line has not been run yet. That is where you are, but it hasn't been completed yet. It's the next step in your debugging process. So the next time I click, let's see if this happens. The next time I click step over, val is going to be updated. And yes, so now val is in my breakpoint. The value is 16. And now I want to introduce something cool. So I have, finally a variable I can use here, and that will be used throughout my program. And you can see I can highlight it. Something that I just recently learned is you are at willing to change the value. I can change the value simply by clicking value, hovering over it, and changing it. So if it's a number, obviously it's really easy to change, which is pretty cool when you think about it. So I just changed it to 12, and that will resonate throughout my program. That's not illegal or anything. You can change that, so you can change the numbers and see if other things work just midway through your program. Just you can humanly touch it. That's pretty freaking awesome, I think. It's a great decision to do, especially if you're really stuck. So then again, I could do step over to go to the next system print out call, but I don't really want to do that. I want to go to my next breakpoint. And so to do that, I can just hit resume. And resume is just going to keep on running until it hits another breakpoint. So I'm going to hit resume, and as you can see here, I have now hit, what have I hit? I have now hit val function 12 because I did not hit anything next. I got to step over it, and then I can do that. So then I can step over, and now I'm here, and now I can quickly click. Oh no, that did go to another breakpoint. I'm sorry guys, I didn't notice that because I was here. I was at line 16 and now I'm on line 22. So yeah, so I got to that breakpoint and then I clicked step over again and I got there. But now if I click resume again, if I click resume, it will bring me to the next breakpoint, which I'll show more closely with this loop. So now the value of val is 24. And the reason because it's 24 is because remember I changed the value of val 12 to 8? Well, it turns out func2 just times it by 2. So 12 times 24 is now, 12 times 2 is 24, instead of it being 16, because it would be 8 times 2, but I changed it internally in my program, which is pretty nice. So now I'm going to go into this loop and show you an important thing about these loops here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit resume. So now I hit my loop for the first time, and now I have a new variable inside my loop, which is I, which is 0. And so now I can see, by hitting resume a few times, I can then keep on seeing my loop. So I hit resume once, and I saw my value in my loop, and now my loop value is 2. I is now 2 because the loop incremented. And I can keep hitting resume to go all the way through the loop and come back to this statement and then stop. So you can easily iterate through loops and see if at any point your loop kind of goes out of control, like a tornado, or anything like that. So it's pretty easy to monitor loops. and kind of, look at branches of your loops or look at other things. So as you can see here, you can use step into to go into other functions, and you can use step over to just kind of iteratively go your functions, or you can set breakpoints if your function's really long to just say, hey, I'm going to run this program until I get to this breakpoint, and then I'll start debugging, because before that breakpoint, you may already know all that code works, or the code, there's a lot of code it goes through, because obviously if you have a million lines of code to go through, then you don't want to be stepping over all of that. You just want to say, hey, get me to where I care about this, right? Or get me to the point that I know that I think it's breaking, right? So you can just try stuff out. So that's what's pretty awesome about debugging. Now to note, you can also click the red button to terminate, and then if you want to start another debugging session, you can simply click the bug again, and then it takes me to my first breakpoint, func1, all over again, and my variables are completely clean. And that's pretty awesome. And the console updates just like it's running, just like the program is fully running, but now you have control over your console. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's pretty awesome. You can edit variables. You can step into functions that are away, even if they're in different files or in different packages. That's pretty nice as long as Eclipse recognizes it's there. You can change the value variables. I think I already said that. You can go through loops easily, and you can step out of functions and you can step into functions. You can return and you can go down. So it offers you a lot of control, and it's really nice to know in really hectic applications. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great day. Hi again, everyone. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys for liking, subscribing, and commenting on this video. If you want to watch more videos of the same category, you can click over here. And if you want to watch any new videos and learn something new, you can click over here. Have the best day of your life.